And good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everybody. Welcome back into the Dragon's Den. My name's Digital Dragon, and I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if I don't see you guys before then. Welcome on in, everybody. Let's see, we got R2 Builder, Papa Bear Yellnats, Petty Ruxpin, R2 Builder, I think Hybrid Robotics, Chewy, Rittenhouse, Shawdell. Welcome on in, everybody. Welcome on in. Um, and let me just scroll up, see if I missed anybody else. Thunder Keys, how's it going? How are things with the kids? Hopefully they're getting all excited and everything. And folks, I will tell you this, if you have kids and you've never done it before, please track Santa. Go out to the NORAD Track Santa website and track Santa with the kids. Call in, talk to the folks there. I volunteered as an elf answering phones for several years when I lived out in Colorado Springs and worked out at Peterson Air Force Base and supported Cheyenne Mountain and NORAD. It is a great time for all. The volunteers there are top notch. They love doing it, and it's so great for the kids. So if you get a chance, NORAD Track Santa, go out there and track Santa with the kids and call in and talk to the elves. It's a great time. Hey Musaka, how's it going? Welcome Eagle the Dragon. Welcome in. Thank you, buddy. Hey Da Vinci, how's it going? Hope everybody's doing well. And yes, hybrid robotics. Isn't the K1C a bit long in the tooth now? Yes. Yes, it is. And here's the thing. I haven't had a Creality other than a Creality Ender 3 and the older school Ender 5 Plus. The other 0G, which is sitting over here on the floor, because it was up here. It was up here. We moved it up here. I made sure it was all working and everything. Moved it on the floor. We're going to relocate it later on. And the K1C is going to go on the line over here. So here's the thing. They come out with so many different machines. And I'm looking for some basic workhorses, kind of like the two bamboos here that just print. And I'm just looking into it. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it or anything, but I wanted to look into it. And besides, for those of you that don't know, I got a Christmas gift from Fadus, and that included a couple of nozzles. So the top is the silicon carbide nozzle, so it has the silicon carbide tip, and then the bottom is the Encoat nozzle tip. And these are for the K1C or the Ender 3 V2, or excuse me, the Ender 3 V3 or the Ender 3 V3 Plus. Once again, I have kind of not been looking at the Creality stuff just because, one, there's a lot of people that are looking at the Creality stuff and posting videos on the Creality stuff. And then two, their lineup is way too diverse. Okay. They've got 12 or 15 variations of an Ender. And I mean, just an Ender 3 lineup, right? Because they're still selling some of the older lineups. And so is this long in the tooth? Yeah. I just want to try this out, run it, see how it compares to these. I know it's not multi-material. That I don't care about. I just need to be able to, there's some things in future planning that I'm doing, and that's why I'm looking at this printer. We'll put it that way. Okay. So yeah. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, fun Festivus for the rest of us all. Yes, and I believe, isn't it Kwanzaa as well? You know, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Just happy holidays to everybody. Enjoy the time with family. My son came into town. My younger son came into town on Sunday. So we just hung out yesterday and just relaxed all day long. Just binge watched some TV shows and didn't do anything. And to the point where we stayed up until like 3 a.m. watching TV and movies and stuff, me and him. And let's just say that the alarm went off and I didn't hear it. And it was still going off 3 hours later. So, yeah, great day for all. I was able to sleep in finally. Well, and so that's the thing, Chewy. So I know there were issues with the K1, right? There was a lot of issues with the K1, and with the extruder, with a lot of other things with the K1. The K1C came out shortly thereafterwards, and it seemed to fix all the things in the K1, but they still kept sending out the K1 without some of the updates, right? And so that was kind of a really weird thing. And I think they were just trying to sell out the rest of their stock and just chalk it up and eat whatever they had rather than try and make upgrades. So you got the K1 SE, the K1 Speedy. That's the thing with the Creality stuff, is they just tend to throw more marketing hype in it and do one or two upgrades and call it a new printer. And it's not. It's just the base printer with a couple of upgrades. And they would be better off to slim down their product line and maybe do one basic, one middle of the road, and then one high end and be done with it rather than have like 10 or 12. But yeah, I hope everybody's having a great day. The plan for this stream was just exactly what I said. Chat and chill and an unboxing. It's Christmas Eve. I'm not streaming or planning on streaming Thursday. I will stream on Saturday. Thursday, we got a lot of family stuff planned, so that's why we're not going to stream on Thursday. So yeah, I just wanted to sit down and chat with you guys. I know it's Christmas Eve, and some of you may have other obligations, but for those of you that don't, that's why I figured it'd be a great time to not get into a build and just do a printer unboxing and go from there. I will tell you that the filament rack that Eagle the Dragon sent to me that we put together on stream. Let me see if I can get this camera turned around some. Sorry for the mess. It has now taken up residence over here in this corner area. And believe it or not, that whole corner area got cleaned out. So that is a 5-tier rack over here that holds about 40 spools. This is all my ABS, ASA, and stuff like that. There's the 0G down there. And I like that rack so much that there may be another one going right here. In fact, I've got one to build, so I got a second one. And it may be going right here to take up some of the other filament that I have that has not yet made it upstairs yet. But yeah, so that's it. I got new nozzles. I wanted to try them out. I didn't try those out in the beta program because I didn't have a K1C, so I didn't even ask for them. But since they sent them to me as a Christmas gift, I got a K1C so that I can try out those nozzles and to just check out, I think the K1C, I think is the best of the K1 Core XY series. The Max does add a larger build size. It's more along the lines of the Voron 300 series, where this is the standard Ender size beds. So with that case in point, the Ender 5 Plus is pretty much an Ender size bed. What, angels? So I happen to have a couple of other sheets here all ready to go. So I already have some sheets that I can use for it. So that's another reason why I went for this size versus trying to do like a K1 Max or something like that. I've got the larger printers. What I need is some smaller, more production-oriented machines. Hey, Bexy Beans, how are you doing tonight, dear? Hope you're doing well, and hope the Mister's doing well on this fine day. So yeah, that was the plan. we're going to open up the K1C here. We'll come over here to the bench side so that we can see the nice box. Putting it on the stool makes it easy for me to not have to bend all the way down to the ground, but we'll see how this thing opens up. So for those of you that don't know, the Creality K1 series, standard K1, K1C, K1 Speedy, K1 SE are all the same size bed as an Ender 3. So it's like what, 220 by 220 by something in the what is the build volume on this? 220 by 220 by, look at the user manual and see if it mentions it first thing in the wiki. Oh, there we go. 220, 220, 250 on the Z. Right, so this is basically an Ender 3 build volume and a Core XY setup. So, and once again, just looking into it again to see kind of where they're at. I know this is not the top of the line. I don't know if I would do a K2 Plus just because I'm not sure if I need that build size anymore. Quite honestly, what I need for some of my projects is going to be a 500 or 600 size machine. So that's either going to be another rat rig, so a rat rig VCore 4 500, or maybe a StableBot 600. So we got all of our steps right here. Remove the 4 side pieces, remove this piece, pull out some parts like our lid, which will come with some stickers and installation guide. And we'll take out some foam padding. We're going to try and keep all this in case we wind up moving the printer to another location, as in if we have to send it back or if we decide to sell it, give it away, do whatever, we can pack it up as nicely as we found it and try and get it sent home or sent to somebody new. And I think actually I'm going to want to set this down on the ground so that I can lift it up easier and out of here. Because we're going to lift it using the bag. Yep, pull it out. We'll do a few things once we get it out. But yeah, the vast majority of the stuff that I do is not huge. So I do have a helmet size printer. I don't really need another helmet size printer yet. What I'm going to need is a printer that can do large practical prints for potential business customers, right? Because I don't want to keep myself just down to the standard, you know, like, oh, I want a dragon, or I want a Chotsky this or a Chotsky that. I want to be able to do practical prints for business customers, and some of those practical prints are going to wind up, how the hell did that go in there? Oh, this is the one that went down the back. Okay. I was like, how did that one go in there? So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at, is needing something that can work for some of the stuff that I want to do, both for the business and then for business customers. So okay, so we take everything out, remove the power cord, air filter cartridge assembly, move the chain to one side in the direction shown in the arrow, so push it to the back, take the gray foam out. Okay, so nicely packed. Nicely packed and pretty compact, actually. Like I said, it's 250 or 220 by 220 by 250. I'm excited too, Benchy Beans, about the business. Ender owners before, I never remember the Z height because the print never gets that far. True, Rittenhouse. You never remember the Z height because very few times will I print anything on an ender, especially a bed flinger, at that height. Right? In fact, very few times have I printed something to the max height of a build plate. And normally it's the 1 or 2 times just to see how, that it can do it. And that's it. Hey, Rob C, Quantum Assembler, welcome in. Struggling with the pain, poor sleep. Yeah, I get that. Evil Diesel's been dealing with some of that as well because of the changing weather here. It hasn't messed with me too much because I've stayed inside, but as we go traveling tomorrow, I'm sure it's going to be fun with my all of my old ales and stuff. So I'm going to switch this up to the overhead. So we need to take this piece out. There's some foam right here that'll have the power cord, the filter and filter cover, and the door handle. So I'll set that out. And we're going to have to take this and just kind of push it to the back, swirl it around, and then slide this foam out. There we go. This will go down in the box. Be able to pull this pack out. We'll go ahead and pull this package out possibly. There we go. This is just standard packing material. Line that box up. I'll have to fix that build plate. This is a glass door, so be mindful of said glass door. Don't want to Uncle Jesse this and bust this glass door open. And that camera froze again. What is up with that camera? Why? Why? Okay. Instructions. So we pulled this stuff out. We removed the power cord, the air filter, removed the chain and back and remove the gray foam. Now we're going to pull it to the front and remove the rear foam. Take the package out of the middle and this out of the front. We've already done both of those steps, just kind of out of order. And then we'll have everything unpacked. So this slides forward, and that just pulls out. So the K1C, a little bit long in the tooth, as Hybrid mentioned. It's 220 by 220, 250 in the Z height, Core XY machine. We'll have a front display here that has the door has a cutout for the display clearance. Looks like there is some more foam down there, and I know we are going to need to undo some screws. So let me go back up here to the go full display here. Yeah, Uncle Jesse has become a verb now. Exactly. Hey, Kenneth, welcome on in. Yeah, this strapping tape is what it's called. It actually, it can come off right. It just can leave a residue. You haven't slept much in the last 4 days due to coughing and breathing issues. Oh, I'm so sorry about that, Hybrid. Being a guy that had suffered from asthma for years, I do feel your pain there, my friend. Looking forward to picking your brain for your show stuff, for your business. Brain is ripe and ready to pick like a fancy strawberry. Ooh. Yeah, top top cam froze again. 2-Wolf Designs. I just noticed that. I don't know what's going on with the darn thing. I thought it was going to work, and now it's giving me issues again. So maybe I'll replace it thanks to some. I don't want to say bonus money, but we do connected recognition at work, and I got a bit. So nice to get some at the holidays. Causes contamination in your apartment. Is it like mold or what, hybrid? Back in a bit, need to get some painkillers and such. Oh yeah, have fun. So we're just gonna kind of walk around the machine real fast. Once again, front door, the cable for the screen, we'll add that in a minute. That should be in this box right here. So right side, nothing major here. We do have our little, plastic covering. I do want to highlight, I'm not sure if you guys can see it. There is screws here. This would be for the side blower fan. There is a way of mounting a spool holder on the side versus where it's traditionally located, which is on the back. So your spool holder is supposed to be mounted down here low, and then it feeds up through the back. There is a mechanism or a print that you can print that relocates this to the side panel so that you're coming out the bottom and kind of do a little side loop and come into your PTFE tube. This is your filament runout sensor and tangle detector. Power inlet. This will be your exhaust. This is where we're going to put our filtration system at. Left side has a little hole down here. This is not a network hole. This is actually the hole where we were going to check and set our country's power. So it's either going to be 220 or 110. This over on its side and see where it's set at. 220 towards the back, 110 or 115 towards the front. Grab my phone so I have a light. Got to set at 230. I'm simply going to use a screwdriver here. Flip that forward to set it to 115. Okay. Set this back up. Spin it around. Do we have the... We do. You have asthma and type 2 diabetes, yeah. That's rough, my friend. Nice, we got extra deductions for the holidays at work. There you go, yeah. It is from a bad infestation of pests there in the walls, electric sockets, switch boxes too. Oh, man. I hope they can get that squared away because normally if it's that infested, the only way to do it is to tent and bomb the whole building. Yeah, unfortunately that's what you got to do sometimes when the land or property management team doesn't want to do the right thing. So what we're doing, we've got this is the Creality wiki. I could use the manual, but the wiki, if there was any updates, would have updates in here. We've pulled everything out of the box. Install the product. So install the door handle on the front door. So that would help tell us to open up the front door. Install the filter cartridge. Let's do that on the back, and then we'll flip this back around and we'll do everything at the front if we have to. Our filter assembly is just that. It is a small, almost feels like 3D printed. I don't know if it is or isn't, but it's a plastic piece with some mesh that's glued on both sides and a little bit of carbon filtration inside of it. The nice thing is if you come up with the right thing, that shouldn't be that hard to replicate these, so you don't have to buy them anymore. You just use your own charcoal from Nevermore. It just flips in there like a little puck, and in fact, you can make it kind of more of a press fit that would then let you reuse, or not reuse, but get a little bit more carbon filtration action in there. But you got your up arrows. This is just going to press fit in, like so. Then we'll flip this around. We will have our thing here. So let me see if that's in, well, it should be in this box. What do we have here? We've got our display. There's our spool holder. So once again, spool holder. We're just going to the back, give a little turn. There's your standard spool holder. This should be like the standard ender spool holder that you normally just have the metal piece that you would clip in. There we go. Oh, look, we got a kitty spool of white Creality filament. How quaint. All right. I've been kind of putting it off, but no more. Work on getting our strapping tape off the door. Look at that first peel. And strapping tape off the side. Get that out of there. Okay, looks like we might have some more here on the side that we'll peel down. Like a little corner tint piece there. Go ahead and peel the side. It's going to make some noise. Let me mute the mic real fast. More than what usually comes with a printer. That's true, Hybrid Robotics. I mean, normally I'm having to buy filament to print the parts to build my printer, so not bad. Okay, we'll turn this back around. And it tells us to assemble our door. We'll open this up gently. We've got our door handle here. Don't know if it's got all the parts in this package for it, but we'll see. We've got the handle. Looks like the backer piece. And it does have the screws and nuts. Okay. Yeah, the ASMR stream. Yeah, normally those peels on the acrylic come off pretty nice. That was like the crazy sound stickers. Okay, so we're gonna have a metal backer plate. We've got these little through inserts that'll go in there. Our bolts are then gonna go through the inserts, the little plastic inserts. So we're like this. Hole heads in the front. And which direction? I guess it should be easy enough to see. Most likely the straight squared edge piece will go against the side that would be darked out. And these are probably number 2 or number 2 millimeter heads. Self-tapping plastic screws. Okay. Yeah, there's a little bit of magnetic tension there, so that's good. Alrighty. So we've got the door on, we've got the filtration added. Now we're going to install the screen. Come on. So we've got a ribbon here with 2 clips. It looks like you squeeze the side end to clip it in. It's going to go right here into this back slit. And then this is going to fit in and slide down. So not much wiggle room to work with here. At all. Okay, we got that in. Now this just kind of rotates to the back and then pushes down to lock everything in. There we go. Our door will open right over the top of that. Peel this off in a little bit. We've already put our rear spool holder in, and this is the printed part that it was talking about. It looks like there's 1 or 2 different printed parts that we can do. There is supplied G-code that is already installed that we can use to print out that side, which is something that we will do. Nice shiny sides. Yep. You got 4 partial spools of filament with your P1S. That is true. The when you get the combo, I got 4 spools, but it was like a little bit of support material, a little bit of standard basic PLA, PLA CF, and I can't remember what the other one was. There you go, hybrid. Well, hopefully I can get some more filament going. You've got 4 of these printers. First mods will be changing the spool holder to a dry box located on the side and a remote switch to move the power switch to the front. Normally I'm fine with having the power switch in the back. That doesn't really bother me. It's in the back left here, so that's no big deal. In fact, that actually works out better for the location that I have it in, or I'm going to put it in. Let's see, now it says to plug it in, install the filament, and pop the lid in. I'm not going to do the filament just yet. but I am going to open up the other box that we had here and see what all's in here. So that's a pretty nice addition. That's a pretty decent. It's the filament unclogger type thing. That's pretty nice. A little, not as stiff as the one that I have that I bought aftermarket, but that's not bad. We've got a set of tools, so some Allen keys, a screwdriver, some PTFE tube clips, and a filament nozzle bolt thingy. So there we go. So we got some tools. We got some extra screws. Don't know if those are definitely needed or not. Some thermal grease. Some rubber pad. I think this is what it's telling us to install on the top hat. So that's kind of what I was looking for. A glue stick. Okay. Plastic spatula. I'm going to assume, yeah, metal grease. So there's the grease to lube your rails with. The USB drive. This will have the initial stuff on it, and of course the obligatory snips. So what I'm going to do is I am going to leave the spatula, the snips, the grease, and the glue stick in there for now. I'm going to need the USB drive because that has their initial files on it. And I don't think I'll need anything else out of this just yet. Oh, hey sis, how's it going? Merry Christmas. Yeah, the wiki's pretty good, Papa Bear Yellnats. I'm going to keep these and just keep them here, like I said, in case I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to wind up keeping the printer or not. If I decide to get rid of the printer, I want to be able to give it all the accessories and everything that came with it. So on our top here, it looks like, let's see what we got. We've got kind of a handle here, and then an opening. So handle, opening. It looks like the whatever stuff goes right along this edge. Not sure what or why, but we'll put it there. Feels like a little rubber thing. So what I'm wondering is if it's to keep it from rubbing up against the cable chain, or the cable chain rubbing up against it all the time. Okay, so that's pretty easy to put that in there. Just a little rubber strip. And like I said, that is most likely there to protect it from getting rubbed on by the cable chain. and just scratching it up, because the spot where the hole is where our PTFE tube comes into the back. So this is going to sit right there. And so yeah, this is the side that gets the that little rubber strip, which is exactly where the cable chain is going to ride up against as this thing is printing. So I think, yeah, we're pretty good. We'll go ahead and we need to remove our screen protector down here. So before applying power, please check the input voltage is switched between 230 and 115. It has been. And then before applying power, please check that the 3 pattern board fixing screws, the 3 platform board fixing screws have been removed to avoid damage to the machine. So see, I was about to load this and go. Yeah, so far I don't see anything in here that tells me to remove the bed fixing screws. I'm just looking at all the notes to see. Yeah, so nothing in these online instructions have told me to remove the bed screws, but I know that it's the same thing. There's 3 screws. There's 1, 2, and then there's one over here that are identified that we need to remove those screws. So we'll do that now. This is once again a 2mm screw, or excuse me, a 2mm head screw. And with this being what appears to be a socket head bolt, that would make it probably a 2.5 or 2mm actual screw. Now I'm probably going to take these off. I don't think they need to be there. And this is very much like the bamboo, or I'll say the bugaboo to a degree. It has a single Z motor in the back here, which is a Creality 4240. And that is running a belt that wraps around all 3 Z lead screws. So it's one motor driving all 3, which is exactly what the bamboos do. But the bugaboo, which is was designed as a inexpensive bamboo clone, which also is built using an Ender 3 build platform. So, hey Zombie, how's it going? Merry Christmas Eve. And I know some people asked if I was giving this away. I am not. This is an unboxing video and just me trying out the K1C. I know it's a little long in the tooth and been out there for a while, but with Creality, it might be worth not jumping on the first one that comes out. Hey Steve Builds, how's it going? This is not meant to replace a capability in the workshop. It's really meant just to be able to see if it could be like a production line printer. And that would be it. And happy holidays to you, Steve Builds. Welcome in. Hope you are doing well. Okay, so the 3 bed fixing screws have been removed. Need to add these back into the box there. We have the lid that would sit down right on top. We're going to be doing PLA, so we're not going to really need the lid. Let me add these screws back into the box here. Once again, I'm trying to keep things in here as, I'll say, stock as possible, so that if I decide to get rid of this and go a different route, I can try and give the same, put it back in the same shipping box to send it out to somebody, and make sure that I basically put it back in the best condition as possible to them. Or who knows, I may like this and I buy more of them and kind of add it to a fleet. We'll see. And no, Steve, I haven't got rid of my tridents. I'm not planning on getting rid of my tridents. Okay. I don't know if those door bumpers are supposed to stay there or not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay. We got another AMSR screen pull here, so let's go back to the bench side camera. Yeah, how are the kittens doing, Steve? I think they're getting pretty big, aren't they? Boom. Pretty nice. Clean pull on that one. Okay. So we're going to throw the USB stick on the ground. I am going to grab the box and move it a little bit out of the way so I don't fall over it from time to time, as I am prone to do apparently. That, and put some pieces back in it. Okay. Now our bed here, we also need to take the stuff off the bed. Please tear off the surface protection film before use. Before applying power, please check that all 3 platform bolts have been, or board fixing screws have been removed to avoid damage. We did that. This is a Creality plate. This is the standard one for PLA. So this is the quote-unquote A plate. The only downside to these plates is they fix the whatchamacallit to them, the little silicone wiper to them. So it's not like an easy swap and replace. They do have the little locating screws, which is pretty nice. And what are you guys doing in the back? I got a 100-bit cheer from Zombie Hedgehog, a 100-bit from Papa Bear Yellnats, 1,000 from Steve Builds. Well, thank you, Steve. Is that the kittens are not kittens anymore? No, they are not. No, they are not. Okay, it does say to use their power cable. They're all pretty much rated the same, quite honestly. So I'm not going to use theirs. I'm going to grab the one that I've had back here that's been my workbench power supply or power cable. Get that plugged in. We'll go ahead and get that closed. We'll get our Creality filament opened up. This is not a reusable filament package, so we're going to stabby stab it. And like I said, we've got good old generic Creality white, hyper PLA white. So this is their fast printing white. It says 200 grams, 190 to 220 C, 25 to 60 on the bed temp, and 40 to 600 millimeters a second print speed. So we'll see. I believe it does tell us to cut it at a 45-degree angle. So we'll do that or thereabouts. And we'll put this in the back and run it through our filament runout sensor and up to our tool head. And there we go. Okay, you guys are going to start that. We're in a level 2 hype train. Let's see, what do we got? We've got Steve Build started off with 1,000 bits. Thank you, Steve. Chewy resubscribed for 6 months. Or I'm sorry, resubscribe, yes, for 6 months at tier 1, and you're now at 19 months total. Thank you so much, Chewy. So Steve with 1,000, Zombie with 100, Papa Bear Yellnats with 100, Zombie with another 69 bits. Thank you there, Zombie. Westery1 with 1,000 bits. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody. I really do appreciate it. I do appreciate all the support. And Steve Builds with another 500 bits. You guys, thank you, thank you, thank you. And once again, thank you everybody for being here. The intent was just to do a basic stream tonight for a short period of time. I do have my son in town. If you've ever been to Midwest Rep Rap Festival over the last couple of years, you've probably seen my younger son. And then my older son, you'll see it out at Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Fest, because he lives down in the Denver area. So, or Colorado Springs area. So yes, welcome on in, everybody, and thank you so much for the bits. I am going to at least wipe down the bed with some rubbing alcohol or IPA, because it did have a sticker on top of it, so it's got some sticky residue on it. All right. Oh, not a problem, Westery. You've done more than enough. What happened to the 0G? The 0G is sitting over here. It hasn't gone anywhere. This one won't go anywhere. I need to figure it out, because this one was built under a closed beta, and technically I believe it's still under a closed beta. I don't know if I could get rid of this at any point just yet. Definitely not without talking to the team. But it's here. It's been printing. In fact, I brought it over here and was making sure it was printing good, because I do want to take it downstairs and find a new place for it. Holy crap, what was that? Dear God. What did you do, Zombie? Zombie gifting 5 tier 1 gift subs to the channel. Thank you so much, Zombie. Oh, thank you, Westery. I hope you have a great holiday as well with your family and friends and everybody that you've got over there. So Zombie gifted 5 gift subs. Valorant, we added 1 gift sub to Zombie Hedgehog's. Does that say? Gift. Oh, okay. So we've got a gift sub for Sid Heresy, Steve Builds, Bear Grylls, Eagle the Dragon, Aussie. Awesome. And then the Valorant gifted a tier 1 to Dennis Carps. So welcome on in, everybody. Thank you so much for that, zombie. That was awesome and amazing. So thank you. So yeah, that's where the 0G is. And like I said, the filament rack is back here in the corner over here. Darn it, if I can. Yeah, it's over here in the corner. And it's got all of my ABS filaments right now. And I've got another rack that's going to go over here against this wall. As you can see, I've got a lot in the bookcases here. And I'm going to put another rack over here to get some more filament put up, because right now I have a bunch of filament like actually down the stair steps that lead up to my room here. So yeah, bonus subs, and they are discounted. Nice. That's awesome. Yes, please, if you're here, thank Zombie for the kindness that he showed to the channel, and thank you very much for doing that, Zombie. I appreciate it. Do I clean the plates very often with soap and water? Yes. So I will keep going for a while, and if I start getting adhesion problems, quite honestly, the first thing I do is go downstairs and wash them with hot water and Dawn Power Wash. And then I'll bring them upstairs, get them in place. I will hit them with alcohol just to wipe off anything that might have been left on my hands from the washing session, and get them and go. So yeah, and let's go ahead and get this turned on and see what happens. Light works. That's always good. And this does have a camera in it. That was another thing nice about doing the K1C, is it does have a camera. This basically has all the perks, right? It's the Core XY, 220, 220, 250 build volume. So standard Creality undersized build volume. It's running Klipper. Granted, it's Creality Klipper. They do have their slicer, but there is a slicer option in Orca for this that we will be using. I am going to snooze ads, hopefully during the hype train that's still going on. We're up to a level 4 hype train, so thank you for that. Papa Bear Yellnatch just subscribed for 3 months. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. So let's see where we're at. We're picking our language. We're at English. Start. Remove the screws A, B, and C according to the location of the arrow. We did remove the 3 screws around the bed. We'll say OK. Welcome to Creality 3D printer. Please keep the blue cube and the diagram clear of anything. So basically make sure that there's nothing in the print area in here. There's nothing there. We removed everything. There is some foam still underneath the build plate, but we haven't been told to try and dig that out yet. We've got the privacy policy to scroll through. Just going to accept it and say next. It's going to ask me to set up my network. I am not going to show you guys my screen, so you're going to get to see the top of my head as the glare off the top of my head at that, since I did shave it while I put in the password. Yep, choo-choo. Thank you for everything, Zombie, and thank you for the alert. Good luck going to make cookies for Santa. Nice. We have homemade sugar cookies with homemade icing. So they, Miss Dragon and my son finished that today, so that's good. Okay, we have joined our network, and we do have a IP address. So we'll say next. Time zone settings. There we go, Eastern Standard Time. Because I am on the East Coast. Please scan the code to bind the device to the Creality cloud. Made peanut butter fudge for Santa. I want to come by your house and be a Santa elf for that one. Santa does not visit you? I'm sure he does in his own way. Okay, so we have the option to bind to the Creality cloud. And it's either mainland China or international. We are international. I don't know if I want to do that. Like, I know that they've got their own like Creality cloud, kind of like the Bamboo Lab Maker World and stuff. I'm not 100% sure. You have to be asleep when he breaks in. There you go. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to bind this, and if I skip it now, can I do it later? Sorry. Full display. This is kind of what I'm doing. I've joined it to my network. I've done the time zone settings. We're over here right now of binding it to the Creality cloud. I'm just not 100% sure I want to do that, or if I can do it at a later time if I can skip it. So let's just see if it'll let me do next, which it does. So it didn't force me to bind it to the cloud, so that's good. Now it wants to do the self-check process. So please place the printing platform. We did that. The self-check process is expected to take around 11 minutes. Okay. Go ahead and open the door, and we'll tell it to go. So it's going to do nozzle heating, bed heating, fans. It is going to do input shaping. So for that, I am going to close the door back because I want less things rattling around on it. I don't think putting the lid on it would have too big of an effect on it. So yes, Western One, we got a level 4 hype train there. So thank you everybody for the hype train. Let's see, we ended the hype train with level 4, 33% with 7 gift subs and 2,769 cheered bits. Thank you, everybody. So it just did its little input shaping, which was, or felt like they did. Yeah, it's in the input shaping process right now. It's raising the bed up. And I don't know, I'm assuming that this does the same type of little like load cell thing that the Bamboo does, where it's actually going to touch the nozzle. Seems to be doing that. And now it's starting the input shaping process. See if our overhead camera is going to work for a little bit. So it is working. I'm not sure if you can see the movement, but it is moving. Front to back and side to side. Hey, Airbrush Master, how are you? Hello, Benchy. The foam is still at the bottom. It hasn't told me to do that yet. In fact, it told me not to touch the printer while it's going through the process it's going through. Right now it's doing the input shaping, so I'm trying not to touch the printer or the table or anything while it does that. There's the noise in the background. Yeah, the foam's still there underneath the bed because it just literally raised the bed as it's going through its initial self-check. Once again, it's doing its input shaping now, and then it'll do the bed mesh, bed level. Now, I will tell you this. I do have the Bamboo app, the Bamboo Handy app on my phone. Believe it or not, it does come in quite handy to check on prints, especially if I'm running them and I'm sitting downstairs, or I'm running prints and, you know, I had to run out to do something. So it is nice to be able to check on prints. I have yet to remotely start a print on a printer, but it's more of allowing me to monitor it when I'm not physically sitting up in this room. And I think it might have just finished one direction. It's going to start doing the other. Yeah, you definitely use the Bamboo Handy app. You started remotely too. Yeah. Like I said, I very rarely will start. I mean, at least on the X1Cs, you've got a camera. So you could tell, is there anything on the bed? Did I forget to clear the bed? Right? And there's enough smarts in it that if the bed wasn't cleared, it will not start the print, which is always nice. So yeah, that's pretty nice. I just don't know about adding the Creality app. I don't know. I probably will though. But I'm not going to use their slicer. I'm going to use Orca Slicer. That is my plan. Okay, it says it's done with input shaping. It's doing the auto bed leveling now. And we'll let it go there with just the top view going. That was the piece of foam that he was asking about. We'll add that to the box later. Seems like it's tapping on the silicon there. Because that's the one thing with these, there's a little silicon strip in the back. And this is the Creality. This is like their plain PEI sheet. And since I knew I was getting this, I did go ahead. I actually ordered this plate on Amazon because it was cheaper on Amazon than it was going through Creality. But this is the textured PEI plate, or the B plate, that works with everything else. So this plate is only for, it says only PLA, and you want to be careful because it's a plain PEI sheet. If you put PETG on that, chances are you're going to rip your sheet up trying to get the PEI or the PETG off. So if you're going to start printing PETG, would highly recommend that you switch over to the B plate and do the textured build plate. Or at the very least, you're going to have to put glue stick down. Get this over so it's a little bit more in line with the camera. And what are we doing now? Oh, I just moved it while it was supposedly auto leveling. Thanks for the lurk, Hybrid Robotics. Lurking for dumb stuff. Okay. Yeah, and I will say that being a network security person, I do run, firewalls, ad blockers, and associated things on my network. I do not use the modem provided by my ISP either. Well, let me rephrase that. I use their modem. I don't use their router. I use my own router. I just don't like other people having the access into my network. This is interesting. We have a single rod on each side for the y-axis, and then the x-axis, they're staggered rods. So the lower rod is behind the front rod instead of being both vertical, which is the way we normally see it. So that's, and I guess with doing a tap leveling, that actually makes a little more sense, because you're probably not going to flex or rotate one way or the other, where if it's straight vertical, you could potentially still have a little bit of flex and rotation of it. User interface, pretty intuitive, pretty straightforward. Like I said, they do have some prints on here. We will print something off with this while we're going through the process today. Yeah, they can see too much. In fact, some of us actually run VPNs just simply so that they can't see everything that's on the wire. But I digress. So first, printing. Using the flash disk for printing. Let's flip over here. And let's do the overhead camera while it still wants to work with us. You can still see that moving around. So keep the extrusion switch lock before printing. Okay. That is our little switch up here. We've got a lock and an unlock position. We're currently in the unlock position. That should have allowed me to push filament through into the gears, and then I can put it into the lock position. It should be able to grab hold of filament. Insert the storage device. Yep, done that. And then we'll be able to go and look at the file folder for USB drive. Kind of looks a lot reminiscent of a Bamboo Labs interface here. Eventually we'll get done with all the self-checks. So it did say it took about 11 minutes to run through them all. So the front cooling fan is fairly noisy. Not too bad, but a little noisy. Hey, Waters, how's it going? How's it going? We are trying out a K1C. It looks like our self-check completed. There is a new version of the firmware. Currently, we're on 1.3.3.36, and the latest version is 1.3.3.46. It's about 130 megabytes. So we will download that and install it. I have not run a K1 before, Waters. This is the new one for me. And I will tell you the story about why I have this printer. It is 100% because a little company by the name of Fetus sent me these for Christmas. So I'm part of their beta test program, and I had the opportunity to beta test these. I did not get these because I didn't have a K1C. I had a Prusa Mark IV, the Conch, or the X1Cs. So I've got a Prusa Mark IV beta nozzle, which is in my Mark IV. I have a Conch that is in the one of my X1s. The other X1, we're going to be going through. So this one here is running the Conch with a Panda Jetpack front cover and cooling duct. This one, we're going to pull over to the bench probably this weekend or soon, and it's going to get a Conch Plus, a Panda extruder, and the Panda Claw hardened gear set. It'll also get a heated chamber heater and a Panda Jetpack as well. And I now have a spare Mark IV nozzle from Fetus and another Conch Plus from Fetus, so I've got some spares. So whoops. You've got a standard K1 at the shop now for a repair job, starting some major touch-up or minor touch-ups after replacing the heater assembly. Okay. Yeah, you wanted to ask about whether or not you should do the Conch. So far, now I have had this jetpack pop off the front cover a couple of times. That's no big deal. The shroud being skeletonized, it just has a tendency to kind of bow a little bit. So it does pop off more frequently than the standard cover does. It's an aesthetic thing. I mean, you can literally take the Panda Jet, which is just the vents, and mount it to the standard cover, and you're fine. It's more of a aesthetic bling for that. I like the Conch. I really do. It's been a great hot end so far, and this one here has been chewing through a lot of stuff with the Conch, which just has the silicon carbide nozzle. Excuse me, the silicon carbide tip. The Conch Plus has the silicon carbide tip and then the encoded heat throat or throat. What are we doing here? Oh, we're downloading and installing firmware. Papa Bear Yell Nats. The Panda Jetpack is the only thing I've tried, right? The rest of the stuff, that's why I bought it, is to put it over in this one and to test it out and see. A lot of people have said that they like it. I want to see before I start saying anything, because the only other thing I can do is say, well, I think Modbot's tried some of it, and I haven't heard him say anything negative about it yet. Right? That's about it. I really, before I say something on social about it, I want to talk. I want to put prints through it and then talk about it. Here's the deal. What's the difference between the Conch and the Conch Plus? The Conch is the silicon carbide tip, the nozzle tip. The Conch Plus is the silicon carbide nozzle tip plus the encoded internals. Unless there's a huge price difference between the two, and I don't think there is, just stock the Plus. The only difference is it's now got some better coating on the internals to help it resist the abrasion more. And quite honestly, I don't think they're that expensive, right? Because the bamboo nozzles aren't that expensive right now, and they're a drop-in replacement. So if you were going to have them, I would just do the Conch Plus and call it done, quite honestly. But I think there's enough people out there with bamboo that would be interested, and the Panda, sorry, the Panda hot end makes sense for somebody that's in a full Revo ecosystem, right? And I'm one of those. I've got Revos all over the place. I love the Revos because they're easy to swap. If a nozzle clogs, I cut the filament, I unscrew the nozzle, put a new nozzle in, and keep going. I will clean up the hot ends, the nozzles later if I can, and if not, I toss them and go. They're $60 each, and that's for the standard, right? You start getting high flows or the obsidian, and they're not even that cheap. So the fact that you can get a full replacement hardened steel bamboo hot end for like $20, who cares that I can't replace a nozzle, right? But once again, if I'm fully vested in Revos, it would make sense to put a Panda Revo on here, right? Yeah, you have Revo V6 kits in the shop. It just makes sense. Oh, wow. Yeah, well, here's the thing is I've bought my Revos. Now that I've got, like, you don't change the cold side, right? If anything, you're selling nozzles at that point, right? Yeah, and the Revo system is expensive. And that's why I said, believe it or not, hey Pete, how's it going? The Rook Mark II, all right? Here's the other thing to think of. The Rook Mark II. It uses a knockoff Bamboo Labs hot end. I know, I just built one, right? The new tool head uses a knockoff bamboo tool head. I don't know why you have to get a knockoff. The bamboo tool head's $20, 20, $25. It's not that crazy, right? And it's stainless steel. Or I can get a Conch Plus, get all the goodness, still a low price. And a lot of people are using those in those hot ends in borons these days, right? Hey, let's come over here to the bench side real fast, see where we're at. So it's a tip. After the upgrade, please recalibrate before starting the printing task. Okay, so we've downloaded select all. maybe. Select them all. Say do that. So I think it's going to run through the whole self-check process again, or at least just input shaping and auto bed leveling, because we just upgraded the firmware on this. So we ran through, did all the self-checks and everything. Now, then it prompted us to update the firmware, which we did. Now we're running through it. Just like the baby belts, right? You mean the baby belt pros? I have no idea. So the baby belt, and you know, I don't know. I believe it or not, I have built a couple of them. I haven't had a single one work. This is a knockoff Creality, or actually this isn't a knockoff. This is an actual Creality tool head on here. This has never been fully built and working for various reasons. And I'm supposed to be getting a, well, partly because this is the 4th time I built this, and every time I build it and I'm almost ready to get it going, they come out with a new revision and like 70% of the parts are different. So I'm supposed to be getting a baby belt kit when Fabrico gets them. He's got one set aside for me for the channel. So I will get one of those. I know they're beta testing the kits right now. Use BBL hot. Yeah, it probably does. It probably does. And once again, if it uses a bamboo, the conch is a drop-in replacement. Where's my? Where did I put the? Somewhere over the rainbow. Nope, didn't shove it in there. Okay. So conch hot end, right? This is a conch plus 0.4. Once again, full drop-in replacement. So anything that uses a bamboo, this is a drop-in replacement for. Once again, with the silicon carbide, it's the silicon carbide nozzle tip here, which is going to be plenty abrasion resistant, with the encoding on the entire heat throat or throat portion. So yeah, it comes bare, so you have to apply a heater and thermistor to it, which you should have spares when you buy your printer. And if not, they're a couple of dollars. It's not like it's huge expense for those either. And away you go. Dang it. Screw it, I don't need that on it. How's it going, Chewy? You got the box turtle? Yeah, there you go. The box turtle is a fantastic build. That kit goes together real quick. If you've got the printed parts, like I said, 2 streams, boom, done. Okay. Oh, it's still doing its thing. Gotcha. You mean like a fully assembled one that's a true just straight drop-in replacement? I tell you what, after swapping out the hot end, it's really easy to swap out a hot end on the bamboo. It really is. There's not much to it. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, I wanted to try these out just because after trying out the Mark IV, so the Mark IV nozzle from Phaetus has been in my Mark IV for a couple of months now, and it's been printing nothing but TPU and PETG for box turtle parts. hasn't skipped a lick. The conch hot end that's been in the BQ and the X1C, it has been printing ABS, ASA, PLA. I haven't run a lot of carbon fiber through that particular printer yet, just because I normally do all the carbon fiber in the other one. So really, of the two here, so this one has been primarily the PLA stuff. This one's been primarily I'll say the more engineering stuff. So this is done ABS, ASA, carbon fiber, PC carbon fiber, nylon carbon fiber. I printed parts, what is it, Polymaker PA612CF off of this. Not a problem, not an issue. Printed it beautifully. But I think getting the heater in it will help even more. So yeah, they had the pre-production kits at Printopia. Fabrico had a couple to hand out to a few people. I was not one of those, but once again, I was in the full swing of the box turtle betas at that time, so that's actually worked out good for me. You had to wait the weekend out to get a few things that you forgot. Yeah. You were at KB3D at 10 a.m. on Monday. Nice, Chewy. How's Chris and Chris doing? Oh yeah, yeah. It's not that hard to replace the heater and thermistor at all. It's messy, right? But you're right. If you can get them on, it's a full assembly. You basically undo 2 small plugs, or 1 if it's on a P1, and 2 screws. Go for it, dude. That's so the one that I've got installed right now on this one is a conch. This one over here will be getting a conch plus. I do have a beta unit that I have to put in it. I can't find what I did with it right now. Otherwise, I'd be showing you that one. It may have just fallen down back here, but this one is going to be getting several upgrades. So it's going to be getting the Panda extruder and the Panda claw. Here, let's go this way. It'll be closer. So the one over here on the left is going to be getting the Panda extruder, the Panda claw, the conch, the conch plus hot end, the Panda jet pack full front. So the Panda jet is just the bottom portion here. The jet pack adds the whole thing. And then we're also going to add in the mini heater upgrade. And I'm not sure if we're going to use the Inkbird, this is the Inkbird temperature probe. I don't know if we're going to use this or just use, just plug this straight into a like Alexa managed outlet, because I've got several of those that I can plug it into and be able to turn it on or off that way. So So I was in the beta for that, Pete, and there were some inlet machining issues at the top of the hot end. Um, and we had some bent heat breaks, but once again, that was not in the commercial packaging. It was in the engineering unit packaging, which was not the greatest. I will tell you, I was in the beta testing. Zombie beta tested some stuff. MakerMind Nexus beta tested some stuff. So there were several people in our community here that were beta testing some of that stuff. Yeah, so far I haven't had any issues with my conch. And I don't expect any issues with the Conch Plus, other than the fact now I've got to figure out like where the hell did I put the other one. Because the one I just showed you is the one that I got for Christmas from Fetus, which should be a production unit versus the beta unit, which is what I wanted to put in here. I just don't know right now where I put it. I've been moving some stuff around in case you guys haven't noticed. We finally done here? Are we good? Self check completed. Okay. Back from that. Go down here to this. And let's see what we can print. We got a print test for Hyper PLA. Bring you guys down here. We got a print test for a Benchy for the side spool holder. So this is one version, this is a second version, and I have no idea what that one is other than it just says test. What do you guys think? You love the t-shirt? Yes. So I will talk about the t-shirt here in a second. So let me make sure that we're good there. We'll put this into the locked position. Okay. Let's just run the Benchy. See what the Benchy looks like. We're on a standard Benchy on this. So this shirt, right? 3D Print SOS, YouTube, right? This is Fader of 3D Print SOS. He's done quite a few things with the Creality folks. I know that he lives right there in the Baltimore area or I say Baltimore area, but around the Bel Air, Maryland area. And I believe he's worked with Creality and actually accepted their boost shipments and held it for them for a couple of days in order to get their boost set up and stuff for those shows. So yeah, he does some stuff with Creality too. I think he just did the K2 Plus unboxing and stuff. And I'll be quite honest with you guys on these. I am not reviewing these. If I get into reviewing printers like this, then I will get into opening up the electronics and checking out the electronics, the wiring and all that good stuff. For now, I let people like Fader and Sam Prentice and Modbot and all those folks do that. I don't typically do that. I'm more of building printers, but I also support my fellow content creators. So, and I love the stuff that Feder does. So it's always good to support my guys and gals out there. You'll see me wearing Pez Liz and Westery One merch too. In fact, I've got a Westery One shirt on the way eventually. Yes, so the nice thing, there's 3 ways that you can print. You can do like what we're doing right now, where we're printing off of the USB drive, right? We got a USB drive physically connected here. So we've got the USB drive. There is, hold on, let me do it this way. So we've got the, so we've got USB, we've got land printing. So this is set up to use Creality print, which is basically a skin of Orca Slicer. That's why I'm just going to use straight Orca Slicer. Hey, thanks for the alert, Bearded Printer. Yeah, always Benchy for first print. It was just easy to grab something that's on the printer. And I want to see how it goes down before I start doing like I will do one of the spool holders. And I will grab some, probably some carbon fiber PLA that I have and use that to build that or print that. So, yeah. Hey, Ash, how's it going? Merry Christmas to you and yours as well. Hey, sis. Yes, I do have a shirt coming. It hasn't told me it's shipped yet. I'm assuming it'll arrive in a couple weeks. But yeah, there's 3 ways that you can print. You know, straight using the sneakernet method of using the USB stick to save files and move them manually. There's land printing, which once again, it uses Creality Slicer, or we're going to do Orca Slicer and send files directly over like we do with any of our Klipper-based printers. And there's Creality Cloud printing. And that's basically you're creating an account, you have an app on your phone, and you can download things from their Creality cloud and print directly. Now, I don't know if anything's changed, but I know there were a lot of issues where people like, I don't know, say I downloaded Photocement's latest model because I am a Patreon of his, and I slice it and send it to the printer via Creality Cloud. In the past, that sliced file is now kept and maintained on Creality Cloud whether I want it to or not. Did you miss the K1C raffle? I don't have the stroke and I am not doing a K1C raffle. Unboxing, yes. It is now unboxed. We have not shattered our door because we are not going to put it up on its end. My feet were fine. I didn't have to attach any feet. So we're not running the top hat right now because, well, we're printing PLA, so there's no need for a top hat. But yes, we ran through all the self-test checks, and then we had to do a firmware update. We did the firmware update, ran through input shaping and stuff again, and now we're going to be printing a Benchy. Yes, the rubber feet were pre-attached, and all 4 of them were on there. We had to add the spool holder to the back. I'm not sure if the overhead shows that over here. Yeah, so the spool holder's over here on the back. I don't necessarily like that, so as soon as we're done printing the Benchy, I'll put a better material in here, and we will print the side holder, which will go on the side here. It'll mount to the side towards the rear, and the filament will just loop back up around through the standard location here for the filament runout sensor. And once again, I'm going to run a few prints through the standard nozzle on here. In fact, you know what? I bet you this just comes with a standard copper nozzle. So if I try and run a carbon fiber PLA print through here, we'll destroy it. So I don't know. I might wind up printing the Creality thing out of standard PLA, maybe PETG, for the time being. I want to run the stock nozzle for a little bit, and then I'll swap it over to the conch silicon carbide nozzle. Or not the conch, goodness gracious. To the standard K1C silicon carbide nozzle. Like I said, I've got an ink-coated nozzle and a silicon carbide nozzle. The silicon carbide is going to go in here. The other nozzle, either I'm going to get a second one of these, which I will probably buy off eBay used and roll the dice. K1 Max weren't such a pain every time you move it. How's including camera compared to Max? Good question. Let's see. I'm not sure if I can get the camera. What was the? $238. Okay, so this is the full display, and they use fluid. Oh yeah, it's a standard fluid stream, so we've got the embedded camera here. You can pull it up just directly, and it looks kind of crappy right now. It looks crappy because I haven't pulled the sticker off, so let me see if I can do that. A lot better without having a little film on it. I forgot to do that on my X1Cs as well. But this is the stock camera. Seems like it does pretty good. It also seems like we're air printing, as in no filament whatsoever is coming out. Yeah, the filament's not even loaded, so let's stop the print. So I thought I had the filament loaded. Apparently I did not. Okay, feels like it is loaded. And I feel like a fish out of water trying to work with fluid. Moving speed. Wow, they have dumbed this down, haven't they? Like I'm not feeling it extrude. All right, there it goes. It's finally extruding. So there we go. Ah. Let's try this again. The metal switch on top next to the filament, is it in the middle or switch to the left? It is in the middle right now. Yeah, it's pushed this way, which should be towards the lock position. If I push it to the left, it would be in the unlocked position. Yeah. It was just it hadn't fed it in. But yes, R2 Builder, I will say there are going to be some giveaways coming up. I've got 2 SVO6 printers that I will be giving away. 2 Sobel SVO6 printers that I will be giving away. And that is just from me. I am getting with some vendors for a Streamiversary stream in January. So, yeah. So that's what it did feel like. It was catching at the top. And some of that has to do with how sharp these bends are at the top here. It kind of, it focuses it towards the side versus straight up and down. So, how's it going, Stephen Poole? Hope you're doing well, my friend. How goes the printing shenanigans in your realm? This is going to go over there. That would come over here and get worked on over there. Sorry, I'm taking a look around real fast. So we also have the IDEX kit to do for the rat rig. That will be coming up soon. And on the rat rig mill. So I'm going to stream it, but it's going to be kind of some ad hoc streaming stuff. Oh yeah, I'm just messing with you as well, R2 Builder. But I did want to let you guys know that yes, I will be doing some giveaways coming up, because I'm going to have a couple of printers to give away that I might be doing separately from the anniversary stream. And then I'm going to try for an anniversary stream. I believe it's going to be January 18th, and I'll try and do some announcements about it once I solidify that date, and then get out to some vendors to see what I can get from them to support the channel for that, because it's kind of a weird time of year, but that's when I started streaming, was January 2 years ago. So this is going to be my 2-year streamiversary. And let's see. Oh, Hybrid was asking R2 Builder, if you're doing commercial stuff, you print life-size, full-motion R2D2s. Probably why he's referred to as R2 Builder. Yep. There you go. I don't think you can do the shout-outs, but I sure will. There we go. We'll shout out my sis there. We'll shout out a Stephen Poole guy. I would shout out Steve Builds, but the shout out for Steve Builds would be Twitch, and he does not stream on Twitch that I'm aware of. Steve Builds is our YouTube streamer. He normally streams on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Or feels, well, yeah, it winds up being 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 10 a.m. Pacific. Yeah, I love Steve build stream. He does a lot of cool builds, and believe it or not, we've got a couple of projects. Somebody keeps hounding me to do some plastic builds, so let's see what I've got over here. What kind of things do we have? That's that. Here. So I have boxes that comprise almost a full set of Mandalorian armor. We've got pieces and parts here in this bag. Let's go here for now. So this bag, I believe, was the D11 blaster for Star Wars. And then this bag is some initial prints that will be for a Warhammer 40K bolt pistol. Yeah, Steve Builds is YouTube only. I'm trying to go both sides. I keep saying I'm going to start streaming over at YouTube, but part of what I've been trying to do is figure out how to get my streaming set up so that I can do both easily with just a quick switch. So I think I figured it out. It's using OBS profiles as well as scene collections. And I'm learning some stuff on the scenes that I can do to make things a little bit better. But I am planning on getting into some production printing, and I want to get into like commission builds, preferably somebody. It would be like somebody buys the kit but doesn't want to put it together themselves, and I will build it for them, kind of like I did for Chewie. But yeah. What I don't want to do is, because I'm going to have some stuff on display over at Evocate, I don't want to seem like I am competing with Evocate, if that makes sense. Okay, we had plastic loaded in here. Why does it look like no plastic is coming out? Like, I'm not even getting a smear. I'm not even getting a mark. I'm not even getting a ball of plastic. And I'm feeling no movement. Okay, so apparently this has to be over to the left. Because as soon as I clicked it over to the left, I started feeling the plastic at least getting pulled. And now I'm seeing plastic coming down. Okay. So let's stop this, because it finally started pulling plastic on the second. Scoot that off. And we'll say restart. There's no restart here. We'll get a Benchy going, I promise you. But yeah, we're gonna do some cosplay part assemblies, and stuff like that. On a K1C, you can restart. Yeah, all I did was go into the display, come down here and click it and say restart. Once again, they're using fluid. I would much prefer to use mainsail. But I think in order to do that, I would have to jailbreak it to switch. I don't know. And I don't want to jailbreak it or root it or whatever you call it. Yeah, on the mini controller itself down here, yeah. Yeah, that's what I figured. So Steve, are you streaming this weekend, or are you going to be taking the weekend off for family events? And oh, I was starting to talk about the rat rig mill. So the rat rig mill, they just came out with some information. I was saying that I thought I had not ordered the spindle. I had ordered the 2.2 kilowatt spindle. They're having some shipping delays, so that spindle's not going to be here for a little while. They've also found some issues with the rodent board and the Wi-Fi reliability and the RS-438, 435, 438 communication protocol. So they are making some replacements to there that are, they're going to ship me a new board, but it might be a couple of months before they get it out. So we may build the structure, but not have it fully built and running for a while. So I'm not sure if I'm really going to stream all that, since I am beta testing it and it's not a final build kit, if that makes sense. I've been trying to find a multicolor bulb to replace the white with. You mean the light up here? I mean, it's 6 LEDs. It shouldn't be that hard to replace. The question is if it's just 2 wires, then that would be it. It would just be I'm sorry, just looking at LEDs, so it's trying to hard. I'm seeing like white lights now. So, hybrid robotics, there is a root capability. Like it literally tells you, like, if you've rooted this, and you must do X, Y, or Z first before you update the firmware. So there is a supported way of rooting the software so that you can get more Klipper functionality out of it. So let me see, does it even talk about it here? Might be in the facts section. Maintenance, grease. But yeah, it's it's not like a full Klipper, because once again, I think it's running a, I don't want to say a bastardized board, but I'd have to get in here and look at it to see what it's got. I really think that it's more of, you'd have to, there you go, the K1 root disclaimer and risk warning. So while it starts pushing plastic, which it is actually doing now, after obtaining root permissions, the Creality Sonic Pad purchased by the user may lose the official warranty service. It's not even the Sonic Pad. You can root the printer itself. But when you root it, you can go in and make changes. So if you go in and make changes and load up other things, then it's not supported, basically. Sorry for so many questions. This is the first unboxing you've seen. Is the door secured better than on Macs? That I don't know. There are 2 screws at the bottom, 2 screws at the top. These screws go through the front door, and same way that they did the hinge. So there's a rubberized plastic piece that fits into the glass. Then you have the screw that goes in, and it looks like it is self-tapping directly into these metal hinge pins at the front and or the top and the bottom. Yeah, it's a Creality board, so that's the question. It seems pretty good. I mean, there is a wiper here that'll help provide good sealing. It's sealed all the way around. 2 screws at the top, 2 screws at the bottom. It seems pretty solid. And once again, Uncle Jesse's thing was that door swung all the way. Now here's the thing, right? It's wherever I stop it, it stops. It's not free hinging. So I think there's a bit more tension on the pivot mechanism. And the problem with Uncle Jesse's is it was very light tension, so it could just swing way freely. Yeah. So I want to do this. Let me go to bench side. So it is pretty fast. It is kicking it through here pretty good. And let me see if turning the LED light off will get rid of some of the glare. That's a little bit better. Get rid of some of the glare that's coming out of there. So I mean, this is pretty quick. The camera is good enough to basically do AI detection. I think I like the K1C camera a little bit better. I don't know if you can really change the position of this camera at all. I haven't even tried on the K1Cs. Yeah, the P1S camera sucks. I've got a couple of cameras that I've tried over the years, and the camera I like the best is actually the one that I have in the 0G Mercury 1 fully enclosed build that's sitting over on the floor now, because it's got that night vision camera, and it just works the best, I'll say. The one over on Fay Dragon is it's the same one as it's the 3DO case camera, and it works well. It's just more of finding the optimal placement for the camera. And I think so far the ones that I've had, the X1C from a stock camera location is really good. Yeah, that's the thing is the Creality boards are not known to have like really great, I'll say, resources and stuff like that. Yeah, like they went from an 8-bit to a 32-bit, but you know what are they using for the host, right? And I don't know. I will tell you that some of the CB1 boards are starting to get laggy. Um, and at this point, I wouldn't pay for a CB2. Like at this point, I would just go get spend the extra and get a CM4 or CM5 module now that the CM5s are out and run them that way. Yeah, the bamboo camera is really good. Like I'm seeing this one here jump around, and I'm not sure if I think it's just the processing on the host. And I don't know, I can't tell if it's, is it a USB camera or, I mean, it appears to be a USB camera, but what else is running on USB on this? I don't know. I don't know what the host is. This is using the side fan. It does have the back fan, so the exhaust fan is going. The camera angle on this is decent, but the display is jumping around, and I don't know, like I said, if it's um, you know, is it lag in the wireless, what have you? But like I said, I'm not using it to do like time lapses. I would be using it to do um, just monitoring and whether or not there's an issue. And I don't need a really high-powered camera to do that. The X1C, I would say, is pretty decent for doing like time lapses of your prints. So, yeah, it's the board itself can't keep up with the processing of the camera. Yeah, like the angle I think could be a little bit like if I could just twist the angle just a little bit more towards the front, I think it would be a little bit better. I just don't know what the adjustability of the camera is. You mean just go straight to the stream view? All right, hybrid, go take a nap. That sounds cool. Yeah, we'll be streaming probably till a little bit after 8, and then I'll or maybe about 8, and then I'll call it quits as well. Go down and have some dinner. There you go, R2 Builder. Thank you. So let's see. Let's see. So this is full camera. Yeah, I am seeing some lagging in it still. Yeah. Get some sleep, hybrid. Hope you feel better soon. Um, I don't think it's an issue with the Creality Prints window itself. I think it's just literally an issue with the processing power of the board. So here's the thing. So it's the camera's viewing it, it's processing through the board on the Creality printer, which is streaming across wireless to my access point downstairs in the living room in the middle of the house, and then back up to my streaming computer, which is wireless as well. And I'm finally noticing drop frames. So yeah, that's probably part of the issue there, right? If I was on wired, maybe it would be a little bit different for my streaming computer, right? Because for right now, I am finally seeing drop frames, but I am streaming via Wi-Fi off of these computers, because when they put in my new network connection, which is a fiber connection, they moved it to a different place in the house, so I have to get up in the attic and run a new line so that I can pull another cable up here into this room. So that's the big thing there. And part of that is whether or not, like, do I decide to put a network switch upstairs to make it easier for me to route cables around later. I mean, be straight up in the attic. I don't know if that's the best place to put one, but could be an option. So yeah, I mean, that's part of it. I mean, I've lost 674 frames, which is 0.3% of frames. So, and I'm streaming at 6,000 plus kilobits per second. But yeah, you can root these. They do have instructions on how to root them. I am just not planning on rooting it. Back to bench side view here. So we will be building the rat rig mill. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to stream it or if I'm just going to do it because I'm building it from CAD. There is no manual yet. So this is a beta kit. I may just kind of maybe I'll go live on YouTube for my first couple of streams and just chat and chill as I put it together. But it's not going to be a standard like build stream like we've done, because it's still a beta kit, and yeah, it's a public beta, but there's still a lot that's been changed with it, even since I got my kit. So, but all in all, I'll say it's a Benchy, right? It is a Benchy. What I'll do is, actually what we'll do is we'll do that right now. We still got Orca Slicer up here in the background. We'll come back over here to full display while this continues to print. We'll come over here, we'll delete that. New project, just clear everything out. We need to get into the wizard. Oh, where am I going to? All right, folks, what the hell am I trying to do here? Where is my wizard view? Preferences? Nope. There we go, that's what I needed. I hate this because I use a MacBook most of the time, and then I come over here and try and use Orca over on a different printer. It just throws me off. There we go. Do a search for Creality, and we've got the K1C with the 0.4 nozzle. So we'll say confirm. We've got all that. We've got loads up with Creality generic. We'll get rid of a few of these and we'll just have the one. Standard process on the K1C. These are standard default presets. So speed here is 200, 300, 500, 300. Pretty respectable. Not bad. I'll have to see if there's some tuned profiles out there for it. Correct. It comes right over the top lip and then into the cable chain. And the reason there's this wonky cable chain piece here is because that's where the PTFE tube comes out and the rest of it comes around to the front edge. There is a notch here in the back panel to allow for this. So yeah, we got to live for it. Is it 100% closed when you put the lid on it? Not exactly, but it's pretty darn close. So there's a little notch right here that goes over the top of that. So there's a, what, 2-inch, 1.5 inch, 2-inch gap in the back, right where the tubes come in. Not bad. It does seal up fairly nicely. The rest of the printer seems pretty well sealed. It does seal with magnets here that magnetize down to the heads of the bolts. So we got a Benchy. The other thing I want to do is right click here. And we'll print an Orca Cube. We'll let this cool down some. We'll print an Orca Cube. The thing I like with the Orca Cube is you'll be able to see the corners. So if you've got some rounded over edges, so we'll see what our pressure advance is like. We'll see what the tolerance is like into whether or not the little piece screws in easily or not. So P1S processor is the ESP32. It's good for what it is, but shouldn't have been used in a printer. It's roughly equivalent to the latest Pi Pico. Yeah, I think I got a Pico 2 somewhere here. Correct. So once again, it's different between the K1C and the K1 Max. I did not want to get the K1 Max just because I didn't really need anything that big because I've got big printers, right? So, okay. So I just flexed one way and then this came off. So they print it with a bit of a brim. We've got our lovely purge line there. So we'll clean that off. And we'll be able to put this back in there. Once again, we've got screws to line it up against. We got screws to line it up against, and then we didn't line it up. Still feels like it's off a little bit. Wow. This is a little bit harder to do from one side because this is a very thin plate. There we go. Okay. So once again, I'm going to just set up and do the Orca Cube. Standard profile, standard speed, see what it does. Creality K1C will come in here and maybe switch to Creality print type. There we go. So apparently, once again, standard Klipper doesn't work. You have to change it to Creality print. Okay. I have no idea here, like what their starting machine G code is. Looks pretty bare, or this way at least. Pretty standard and bare, so that's interesting. That's nice. Anybody got a suggested name for this? I mean, something with dragon in it. Hey, Steve, you'll be streaming Sunday, not sure what yet, but planning on it. Okay, cool. Oh, not a problem. Yeah. Goes Sarah. KFC. Dragon Slayer. That's not the Dragon Slayer. We'll have to figure something out. We'll have to find we'll have to grab the dragon book over there and find a like lesser named dragon or something. So looking at this, white really sucks. Like I can't tell if this is over smushed or not because I can't like might be a tad bit over smushed. One, we've got a brim, but just trying to see the letters here is painful on white. So here's a tip and trick. There's a reason they send white out with their printers. White is shit, excuse me, I'm French, for trying to tell print quality. I mean, other than the fact that overhangs are looking good, it looks like a boat. There's a little bit of something marking right here, but you can see like trying to show it on camera. Unless you've got really good lighting and stuff, it's just going to look good, right? You're not going to see layer lines and stuff. That's why they send it with white. Use a gray and you'll see a lot more print defects. Dragon's breath, dragon's finger. Only things you have are inappropriate. Probably Temu dragon. This isn't Temu. Mushu is the dragon from Milan. Good old Eddie Murphy. Oh God. Dragon's breath though, that's an option. There you go. Let's do that. All that right? Dragon's breath. Yes. We'll do that. It will get a different IP address down the road, but so that we've got a smooth high temp plate. I don't know about that. Let's go with a smooth cool plate. I have no idea. I don't know why it seems like it's pulling bamboo bed types here. Yeah, we'll leave it there. Creality PLA, sure, why not? Slice standard settings. Actually, before I do that, strength. 15% crosshatch. Well, we'll see. Now, I do not believe this is a Creality sanctioned profile. I don't know. I don't know who created this profile, if this came from Creality or not. Or if this was something else, but because you're putting out hot breath and melting things. Yep, there you go. Never really named my printers, just X1, A1, SV06. Yeah, I get that, Papa Bear. I've been throwing names on the printers just because it's, you know, they have personalities. They have personalities, and it could just be like if I do get into print farming, it will most likely just be like, you know, 1, 2, 3, you know, and probably be like X1C1, X1C2, X1C3, or, you know, P1S1, 2, 3, and doing things like that. Because if I start doing print farming stuff, then they're now tools, and tools need to have proper maintenance done on them, have maintenance logs and everything else. So yours are named after the 7 dwarfs. Which one's Sleepy? ChatGPT suggested dribble the print worm. It gives off a playful vibe, like a small mischievous dragon that occasionally drools filament. It hints at a lesser quirky dragon rather than a powerful majestic one. Nice. Leo, yeah, there you go. Leo, as in Leonardo da Vinci. I'm going to copy that, Da Vinci, just because it's funny. Um, I get you there, R2 or R2 builder. Yeah, one's Sleepy. I can understand yours is after your favorite Marvel characters. Okay, so the Westery, the printer that you just had to clean up and clean all the mud and stuff out of, which Marvel character is that? Because I think that should be renamed as something that's old and grungy that's made new again. You sold your K1 as they were too loud. So as this was starting and all of the printer or all the fans were kicked on, it was pretty loud. I'll give you that. It seemed louder than the Stinger that has those big 9733 fans. And like I said, Ozzy, that's part of this is how noisy or whatever are these and stuff like that. So I'm curious to see. Call it Mr. Hanky. The one that had mud all in it. Tony Stark, there you go. He did a remake, right? Once he realized that all the stuff that he was profiting from was actually kind of bad news, that he remade himself. Yeah, I think this is going to print pretty decently. Um, like I said, there's nothing really wrong with the Benchy. I'm just going to say that once again, with white filament, it's really easy to show good prints, and it's really hard to show flaws in a print unless you've got a really good macro camera and stuff. Looking at this, the layers did go down pretty well. Looks like some rounding out, so some pressure advance maybe on some of the areas right around here in the little back well, the bait well. So, but all in all, it's pretty darn good, especially for the speed that it was printing at. So we'll see. And yeah, this looks like it's too low. So it doesn't let you baby step there. So does this not let you do any type of baby stepping or anything? Huh. Oh yeah, like these fans are loud. I will give you that. Most of my stuff that's printing in my X1Cs, I'll have the lid on and the front door cracked. So I've got the lids on and I'll have the front door cracked or, you know, however open. And this does take care of a good portion of that noise, but it's still a little noisy. Now I'm interested that it would almost make sense like this is letting us, like we're setting 0.01 and trying to step it up or down, but it wouldn't let me. And there was nothing I was seeing that would let me do any type of baby stepping in the front code. So yeah, if it's fully closed, it's pretty darn good. And with the exhaust fan going, I don't know if that would help keep the chambers cool enough that it didn't melt PLA. I'm gonna have to do some looking and seeing if there's a way of doing like baby stepping. I'm not seeing anything that shows baby stepping. Okay, so there's literally a button here for root account information so that you can actually get the information to root the account if you wanted it. Bind to the Creality cloud, export log, version, reset to default, expert mode. Expert mode, hey, there's the offset. That would be that would be good to know. So you have to go all the way down, find into the options, scroll down, and find expert mode, and go into expert mode to do Z baby stepping. How about bringing this up to a different menu? You also have flow calibration. You can do nozzle pig calibration. So it looks like there would be pig test calibration set up there. That's interesting, but like I said, it'd be better to have that baby stepping menu somewhere where you can get to it quickly. But yeah, I will say that I'm really impressed with the X1 carbons. I think this is going to be a good printer. I just need to get that first layer dialed in a little bit better. And it stinks that it doesn't give you the option in the fluid mainsail interface to update it, but no big deal. It'd be something I'd probably just do it at the front panel anyhow. So the nice thing about having the spool holder mounted on the side or side loading it would be if I'm going to start doing like carbon fiber or stuff like that, then I could run it straight from a dry box. If I'm going to run like just large mass quantity, print after print after print after print after print, you can put a 3 or 5 kilo spool and run from that. So there are good options there, and I think this format, this size, works well for 90% of the stuff, right? So as I mentioned, I'm not going to stay on here too much longer. We'll call the stream at 8:30. And like I said, we're going to print with this. I'll find some other stuff that I can run through and print out on this just to see how well it does. We'll test some other filaments in it as well. I mean, I think it's like anything else. It's a Core XY printer. It prints fast. It prints good. Box turtle with 4 or 5 kilogram spools, never run out. Yeah, but that would be pretty big as far as side goes, side to side, to put 5 kilo spools in it. Now, black box with a bunch of 5 kilo spools running up into it, that wouldn't be bad. We need to get black box printing here soon as well. We're going to work on doing the IDEX upgrade to the rat rig and start printing some things through that. And then black box, we're going to try and, I've got some prints that I need to start printing for the special projects for KB3D. And we want to do some multicolor TPU printing. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, we've got the rubber strip added there. Whoops. Rubber strip added on this side, which winds up being on this side, which is where the plastic will hit, or the drag chain will hit. So that actually will keep it from marring up your plexi or acrylic. And I do have the rear exhaust fan here, so that is going to help pull some of the hot air so that the chamber doesn't heat up too much. It's interesting that they don't show chamber temperature on the web interface, but on the front panel, I think it does. It is showing 29 degrees chamber temp. I don't know if that's right or not. You keep drooling on Chris's black box. You mean his IDEX? Water Assist does not have a chamber heater. I believe, does the K2 Plus have a chamber heater supposedly? I mean, quite honestly, you could probably put the same chamber heater that I'm going to put in the X1C in this just as easy. There should be room on the side here for you to put some type of chamber heater. But here's the thing. These are our acrylic side panels. If you put a chamber heater directly on these acrylic side panels, you will most likely melt the acrylic. He's got two printing heads, and one of them is like an automated Z offset switch. So yeah, you could probably put a chamber heater in here, but with using the acrylic panels, probably not the best. You would want to swap these out for something a little more higher temp. Yeah, like these, if you want to do something that requires hotter chambers, don't do it in a Creality machine, or at least not the ones that they've got out there now. Grab an X1C, or better yet, an X1E, and put a chamber heater. Like, I'm going to put a chamber heater in the X1C, in one of them, but sorry about that, folks. But the X1E comes with a chamber heater in it. Like, I guess they doubled down. But I would do like an X1E. A stable bot or something is purposely built for a chamber heater. This with this acrylic side panels, top panels, and a tempered glass door, I wouldn't put a chamber heater in this. You do have the ability to sell an X1E if you're interested. You just have to RFQ it. Okay, I'll look into that as well and see what the, like what are the build volumes on an X1E? Because I still haven't really checked it out. Like, was it a larger size, or was it just the same size as an X1C with a higher price tag? Yeah, it's the same thing as the X1C build size, right? Designed for off-cloud operation, filtration built in, active heating. Yeah, so basically an X1C on some steroids. Can't post the price publicly. Okay, yeah, not a problem. Yeah, I was just more looking at, is it the same print size? And I believe it is. Yeah, same Wi-Fi range. It supports enterprise encryption on the Wi-Fi. It does support an RJ45. Yeah, same physical dimensions, so it's the same print volume. It's just got some extras. and they are coming out with a fancier filtration. They are coming out with a larger printer though, correct? The H2D or whatever that did they have that at Formnext? Or whatever was out there in Frankfurt? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and definitely not trying to get an inside scoop or reveal or anything. I know that somebody's dropped that that there's a new one coming out. I'm just curious to see what it winds up being. Because if they don't go up in form factor, I think that's going to be a limiting factor. I think there's only so much more that they can pack in that they have, in the space they have. Yeah, yeah. Okay. But cool. But yeah, this is going pretty well. I can tell you that yes, things are looking pretty good so far. I bet you I could put bearings in it, and from the looks of it, the threads are going to be perfectly fine and going just well. Hey, Shenanigans, how's it going? Hope you're doing well, my friend. I say, am I not following them? Well, I am. Will integrate technology that pushes the boundaries of consumer 3D printing. It will be positioned above the current X1 series, targeting prosumers who demand cutting-edge performance, focusing on features that will enable capabilities previously not possible in consumer printing. Okay, so yeah, that's not 100% revealing, is it? So how are you doing today, Shenanigans? Hopefully you're doing well and you're able to spend some time with family. How's it going, MG Longshot? So are you talking about on this printer, Shenanigans, or the barely mentioned unreleased new bamboo? Because this is a standard Creality K1C, I'm going to assume that it's the pretty basic here. 300 max at the nozzle, 100 max on the heated bed. So it will do ABS. It should be able to do carbon fiber and all that good jazz. So are we calling it the Bear Bamboo? No, I think we're gonna call this Dragon's Breath. Hopefully it doesn't catch anything on fire. Or Bamboo Bear. But yeah, we've just been printing and enjoying and chatting up. There we go. You can see my face now. You got a roll of polycast in today. Going to be the next big project. Ooh, nice. I've actually got filament that I have been storing in there that came from, need to get with Evil Diesel. It was supposed to be some specialty filament. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But I've got PCCF. I want to get some of the PPSCF. The unannounced, oh yeah. I don't know. Don't know. I believe it was something like H2D or something like that. Has been something that people have been bantering around, but who knows? Who knows? But yeah, right now this is a bone stock K1C from Creality. I did purchase this. I do have some Fadus nozzles, so I can't, this has the standard nozzle in it, which is a copper nozzle, I believe. So it's not, it would not be abrasive resistant, I'll put it that way. So we're gonna have to put a different nozzle in it. And I do happen to have a couple from Fadus that they sent me. So we will swap that nozzle out and print some other stuff. Yeah, I think I've got printers that can get up there to print it. I just did it come with a titanium nozzle? I don't know. Let's see. Does it tell me what it came with? Like, you would think that it would say what, you know, if they had a titanium nozzle, it would mention it here. And it definitely does not on the wiki. Let's just do a, let's go back to the standard Creality page and look up Creality, no, not support. Not K2 Plus either. So it has the unicorn nozzle, so it's a quick swap tri-metal nozzle. So one-handed swap, great durability, steel tip copper nozzle, integrated with a titanium alloy heat break. So the titanium alloy heat break just helps it shed heat and it breaks the conductivity between the two pieces of copper, so it doesn't creep up. That's been standard for years, but it has a steel tipped copper nozzle, so yeah, nothing big. Yeah, so that's the thing. The original K1 had a standard copper nozzle, and it used like what looked like, I'll say, the standard nozzle. Like it was not a combined heat throat nozzle type thing. The K1C came out with the full unicorn, and then the K1 Max, when it first came out, had the old one, but it can be upgraded to basically the same tool head that's in here. And I've got the top one here is the Fadus silicon carbide nozzle, and then the bottom is the end coat nozzle. So this is basically the same thing. This is copper with the titanium heat break, which is this center gap right here is the titanium heat break with the silicon carbide nozzle tip. So it's a brass nozzle, but it's a silicon carbide insert for the tip to provide the abrasive resistance. So this piece right here, this gap, is the titanium. So this is still copper for heat transfer. This is copper, so this is transmitting the heat. And then this part of copper right here is going to be transmitting the heat more effectively to the cooling fins. But my plan is to do the silicon carbide nozzle in this one. And if I wind up getting another one, which I would just buy a second one off of eBay used, then I would put the end coat nozzle in that one. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I've done micro Swiss. My old ender had a micro Swiss all metal hot end that had over 4,000 hours on it when I gave it to Evil Diesel. So I like my micro Swiss. In fact, I've got the micro Swiss NG Revo. So this has been sitting over here. This is planned to go on the Tivo Tarantula revitalization. And yes, I know it says that's for the Ender 5 series. It's actually, I grabbed the Ender 5 because it's the only one they had at the show. And I just bought the extra plate to switch it over to, because the Tivo uses a 2020 rail like the Ender series does, so. Once again, it should not let me print anything, I'll say different, because once again, I did not realize that this was a steel-tipped copper nozzle. The silicon carbide should have better abrasion resistance than the steel because it's a harder material than the steel. It will hold up. Oh. So we'll touch back on that in a minute once he gets back on. What extruder is that on the ender belt? Yours is the it's the BQ, was it H2 Light Revo or something like that? It's the H2. H2V2S Revo. Yes, it's the BQ H2V2S Revo extruder. And I did find that I've got a couple more of the nozzles here. Yeah, I've got a couple more of the nozzles here that are like, I think it's a 0.6 and a 0.8. Yes, 0.6 and a 0.8 nozzle size. So I've got some other nozzles I can send your way. Yeah. Correct. It doesn't let me print anything that I can't already print. because like I said, I did not realize that this had a steel tip nozzle. So it's not going to let me print anything that I can't already print. It will just let me, it'll last longer. Right? There's no real reason for me to swap the nozzle other than I can. Right? So, I have not. I know that there was a lot of issues with like the BQ Huracan, and just because it was the first, like the BQ Huracan was the first kind of mainstream big printer that came out with Klipper on it, and it used the Benchy Tech. What was it? The C or the Manta M4P, I think. I think it was the M4P with a CB1 module, and it was like their first printer that came out using that hardware. And there was a lot of weirdness and issues that people had because it wasn't direct Klipper, and it was kind of a mess. But the printers themselves are good. It was just kind of, there was a big uproar because of the locking down a Klipper on it. But once again, if you're, Creality's building a, Creality, the Bamboo Labs, they're running Klipper, right? They've got a lockdown, simplified interface. They do that for supportability reasons, right? If I can come in here and make any modification I want, it's harder to provide support, right? It's not a standard support model at that point, and you wind up having to get in and have people that know the nitty gritty of all of it. Where when you do this, you have a commodity product that can go to anybody, and you have a support method. You've got support playbooks that your support team can run through to get things set up. I'm like, wow, there is some huge glare coming from. And I can't shut that light off without shutting this light off now. Maybe I'll just do it like that. There we go. That solves that problem. So, hey, we got some more bright white stuff here. We'll let that stuff cool off here a little bit, and then we'll pop it off. But yeah, I mean, it comes down to needing to be able to provide support. So I get why they lock some things down to dedicated versions. It just sucks, right? And it's the same thing with phones, right? You get a Google phone, it's running Google Android. It's not the latest and greatest version of Google Android. It's the version that runs their base apps and can do the things that they want to do and provide support for. If you want to go bleeding edge, then you rootkit or jailbreak your phone, and then you can install whatever you want on it. And you can run a cracked, or not cracked, but a different version of Android on it. But you're on your own at that point. It comes down to support, customer support factor, right? Timor said he's just stripped down 2 Huracans for parts. It was open Klipper. Yeah. So let's, okay, that pops off fairly easily. That one, not so much. This did get some burnt filament blemish on the bottom. kind of don't like the purge line that they do with that big long purge line, but that's a Creality thing. It is what it is. Now, the one thing I will say here is you will notice that the back side of this is a one-sided plate, right? This kind of feels like it's got the coating on it, but you've only got the wiper on one side. And it's only going to fit in there this way as well, because if you try and put it the other way, the wiper will hold push the back side of the plate up, and it won't sit flush and right. So on the Orca Cube, once again, we're not going to be able to see, probably, it's white. It's not going to show those defects like you would if this was like a gray. But what I'm looking at is kind of just looking at an angle here. How sharp is that corner edge? Right? They're looking pretty sharp. They're not looking like there's any bulge out of there. So that's a pressure advance kind of check. The top layers seem pretty good. It doesn't look like there's any over extrusion there. So they've got that dialed in. Now let's see if we can screw in the base. And that screws in pretty easy with not having to do any excess force until I try and undo it now after I've screwed it down in there a little tight. All in all, good tolerance. Decent look. I want to print this off in like I said, like a gray and try it out, but it looks good. You did a great unboxing. My question is, despite the lower cost, is it worth replacing your Max with? I can't say that, R2, because I don't have a Max. I have nothing to compare it against. What I can tell you is it's a decent printer. It's, it comes down to, do you need the size of the Max? If you don't need the build plate volume of a Max, then maybe something smaller is good. If you already have a Max, is it worth selling it and getting something smaller? Probably not. Sorry, I'm going to put that on there to kill the fan noise some. There we go. So here's the thing, MG. This is a K1C. This is the Creality print interface, right? In order to get here, we can use Creality Print's software, which we didn't use. I chose to use Orca Slicer directly versus Creality's skin version of Orca Slicer that I have no idea what the underlying build is on it, right? But to get here, when we did our connection, normally we're setting it for Octo Klipper. It wouldn't work. I came down to Creality Print and it worked. We were able to upload that Orca Cube and go, right? So there we go. So that's one difference. And if we go and look at the Klipper interface here, this is a modified version of Fluid from the looks of it, right? It's preset. I'm not seeing anything that gives me an option of changing it. I can use simplified Chinese or English. We're going to stay with English because simplified Chinese ain't going to help me. Um, you can restart the service, but I've got no control that I can see about coming in here and changing or modifying any of the panel settings, right? This is kind of a downer to me because I am an experienced 3D printer. If I was if this is my first ever printer or even the second or third, and I'm using it just to print things, or this is going into, if I was starting a small 3D printing business and this was all I knew, um, this probably wouldn't affect me that much. This bothers me that they have, if you want to go with a preset, um, that's fine. Do a preset. But don't lock me out of modifying this interface as I grow. Right? I don't know if I can change this interface without then also having to root the printer. And that really annoys me. I'll have to, it's possible I'm going to have to do some looking. Right? Once you root this, I don't think there's a going back to stock. So that's the other thing I want to look at, because once again, I can't guarantee that this printer is going to stay in my shop. I want to play with it. I want to try it out. I want to see if it works in some of my workflows. If it does, great. If it does, but the limiting factor is really the interface, and I want to root the interface because everything I've got is mainsail except for the black box, which is RepRap firmware, and now the LH Stinger, which comes with a predefined fluid interface. Now I can change that, but yeah, well, and that's the thing, Pete, is I now need to do some research. Um, I have gotten away from Creality, right? When I had my Ender, it was real easy. I swapped the board and I put a Big Tree Tech board in it, and I was running Klipper, fat, dumb, and happy. Because I'm running Klipper through a Raspberry Pi, and I am putting mainsail, and I'm running it, and I know how to get around everything. The simple fact that I cannot baby step off of this interface annoys the crap out of me. And by the time I found where to go to on this interface, so going to this interface, right? I've got a print. It's a small base print, and it's too squished. I need to raise it up. Okay, config. I need to, it's going to start off here at the top. I got to scroll all the way down to the bottom, click on expert mode, click on Z offset, and then make a change to Z offset, which you can only do when you're printing. Well, if I'm printing, why not have a button on the front like X1C's menu does, where you can adjust if need be? Why do I have to dig through a bunch of menus, right? These are only able to be done while it's printing. Why do I have to go 2 or 3 menus deep to change a parameter while it's printing? Right? So yeah, it's not bad. I think there are some things that could make it better, especially something like Z offset like that. But so far, I printed a boat off their drive, boat printed. I printed an Orca Cube, sliced with Orca Slicer with the default profile that's in Orca. I don't know if Creality made this profile or somebody else did, but It looks like an Orca cube. So 2 for 2. We're gonna print. We're gonna put some more filament through this. I will probably print something out with this white filament just because, you know, do some Christmas trees or something that I can take to my parents' house tomorrow with some of the other stuff. And you know, I'll say for an unboxing, it prints. It prints good. It prints relatively fast. The prints are good and consistent so far. I'm going to run it for a little bit and see how it goes. Right, it's going to go right across here behind me and my behind my shoulder there, and we're gonna put some filament through it. I think it's going to do just fine. Yeah, and see, that's the other thing is I don't know what the reliability is, and we all know like they have pushed a lot of printers. And by they, I mean Creality. Creality has pushed a ton of printers in the market, right? Same thing with Bamboo. What's the reliability over time and across the product line? That's really where we're at on these printers. How reliable are they? Right? Here's the other thing that I will say, the other detractor. This is good and this is bad, right? It's good in the fact that you give me a USB drive and these are, you know, easy to get to, not as hard to lose as an SD card. Bad because it sticks out. I can catch it, and if I catch this, chances are I'm gonna break the USB drive, which means now I'm only able to go across the interface. I would love, instead of doing these, I've got one that looks like a dongle. Literally, and I'm not sure where it's at, but I've literally got one that looks like a Logitech dongle. And I know it's in something right now, which is why I can't find it. But if you know what I mean by the dongle, it's got a head that comes out like 3/8, 1/8 of an inch, right? So that way, when it's plugged in, you're not going to catch it on anything, chances are. And if you do, whatever it's like dropped on it, like if you're pulling the plate off, it's going to slide off. Here, it's going to slide out and put pressure down on it, and you can snap that connector. If the connector's only coming out like this far, it's, you know, your chances of breaking that device are slimmer, is where I'm kind of going at. So if I'm going to nitpick, two things. This is great. I would almost rather see it coming out the side of the monitor versus the front of the printer, or the side of the display versus the front of the printer, and coming out this way versus out this side. The other thing is, stop putting filament rolls in the back. And this is not only the back, this is the back center of the printer almost. Put it on the side, or at least, for God's sake, on the Bamboo, it's on the back, like side edge, so you can get to it. You can reach around and get to it, right? Same thing with the Vorons. You know, they're hanging right off that rear extrusion, like right here. So your filament's going on and hanging out over the side. It's easier to work with. But doing it straight almost in the middle of the printer, that nobody can reach back there and deal with it. Stop doing it, please. Hey, Ten Talon, how's it going? But yeah, what I'm saying is I think running default profiles on this is going to work great. Like I said, default Orca Slicer. Can it be tweaked? Probably. I will be quite honest with you. I do not go through and tweak the crap out of my profiles. I just don't. I can tell you that some of the prints over here, I run standard default X1C profiles. Other ones, I've got Zombies tube profiles, and I use those. Right? This is a Creality machine. Chances are, if you want a good profile on a Creality machine, who do you go to? Who do you go to for Creality profiles? Chet, right? So if I'm looking at trying to find a better profile for this, I'll go look at Chet and see if he's got one for Orca. I know he normally does Cura, but I'll see if he's got one for Orca Slicer out there. If not, I'd find one. But I don't normally get into tweaking profiles all that much. I'm just more into printing. So, and we were talking about printing projects and assembly projects. We've got a blaster to do. We're building a bolt pistol. We've also got, let's see if the overhead works here. These are parts for the Galactic Armory mechanical, like working Warhammer 40K chainsword. So I'll be putting that together as well. So I'm just trying to do some other bigger printing projects to do some things like that. And that's something where this may play into as well, of just something that can turn out consistent, decent quality, layered prints that you don't have to do a ton of post-processing with. Because if I'm going to start doing some other things like that, I don't want to sit there and say, hey, every third or fourth plate fails or I get crappy prints and requires a bunch of extra post-processing. So if it works out, great. Maybe I'll wind up getting a couple more of these because quite honestly, I don't do things that require full build volumes. If I do, it's a helmet. And once again, the last couple of helmets I did on my 0G, I had print failures due to clogging. And I know some of that's me because I was trying to run a silk print. People, do not run a multi-day print in silks. You will have a bad time. Do it in something regular, paint it. Save yourself that agony. I tried to print the Mandalorian helmet 3 times, and I had 3 failures at about the same layer height where I got a clog on silk chrome filament. And it's not the filament, it's heat creep. And that's the problem. Even on an open hair, open frame, you're going to get heat creep doing a silk for that long. It's just not going to, it doesn't end well. But yeah, stopping in, wanted to say have a Merry Christmas all. Thank you, Tin Talon. And that's kind of where I'm going to be at. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year. We will see each other again before the new year. I am not streaming on Thursday. I will be streaming Saturday. Something. I don't know what yet, but we will be streaming on Saturday. Maybe it's just a chat and gab and we don't do some big 8-hour long print day or build or anything like that. We'll see. Maybe we'll spend some time trying to put a little bit together on the rat rig. We'll see, but yes, that's kind of where we're at. I'm going to take a quick gander and see who may be out there that we can raid into tonight that might be streaming. I know I said I was going to stop at 8, now 8:30, and now it's 9 o'clock. And you know what? I see somebody I want to raid into, but not tonight. But yeah, we're going to go over to Free Heathen. Say hi to Free Heathen and Benchy Beans because they stopped in the stream earlier and said hi. So we're going to go over to Free Heathen and see him and Miss Beans. I think he might be on a break for the moment. I think he's on a break. So we'll hold for 1 second. But yeah, we'll jump over to Free Heathen and say hello to them. Ads start in 30 seconds. No, they don't. We're going to snooze that for 5 minutes. That'll work. Yeah, like I said, we're going to jump over to Free Heathen and Benchy Beans. I see some hands moving around as they're putting ornaments up on the printer. So they are around. We'll get the raid started. Thanks everybody for being here. Thank you for all the bits and the subs earlier today. That was amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you guys Saturday morning, same time, 10 a.m. Saturday. And we will go and work on something. Haven't decided what, but we'll work on something. Thank you all for being here. Stay safe. Have a good time. Spend time with family and friends. Enjoy the time off. And I will see you again later. Bye now.